Today I want to talk about why I think Destiny 2 will never be a competitive game and why I believe a lot of people think it should be, but it won't. Now, I know Bungie always does little in-game events with Bungie creators or even just people in the community, but I'm talking about things like if you compare it to maybe like Rainbow Six Siege or Fortnite, when they have those competitive things like FNCS, stuff that's actually backed by Fortnite, very competitive, high-stake things, right? There's a couple reasons why I think that it just won't ever happen in Destiny that we've kind of seen already, and then why I think it still will continue to not be a thing. We're probably going to bounce around a lot of topics in today's video, but I'm going to try to keep the center on why Destiny just won't be competitive and it will never be treated as that. And the main reason is because Destiny is an extremely unique game. We have tons of abilities, tons of different characters. You're building into the identity of each character, whether you're playing Titan, Warlock, or Hunter. You have all the light subclasses, Arc, Solar, Void, and then you have the darkness subclasses, Strand, and Stasis. And then if you even want to go above and beyond, you have Prismatic that just throws everything together. So when you want to make something competitive, you need a rule set, you need a lot of things to be restricted. And I know we have things like Face It or community ran tournaments where people try to put limitations on things, and that's great. But I still think it takes away from the overall feeling of Destiny, right? When everybody thinks of Destiny on a competitive level, they think, okay, it's going to be hand cannon shoddy, hand cannon sniper, right? And that's what Destiny historically has always been through any PvP tournaments that we've had. It's mainly just been hand cannons and shotguns or hand cannons and snipers. And that might feel the best way to play Destiny in a competitive level and what people want to spectate, but I honestly believe people would really like to see everything that Destiny has to offer. Now, I know Destiny's not in the most balanced state right now. There's a tons of things that are kind of affecting how PvP players feel, whether it's ability uptime or just things that are straight up broken. But the point is that I think Destiny will never be in a position where you can have a PvP kind of tournament setting where you're just allowed to use anything and everything. I just don't think that it would work. And one of the big reasons why it won't work is because the people who support the competitive play of Destiny, and I'm talking about the competitive kind of scene that Destiny has, people who support competitive Destiny aren't the best people to be around. And so I'm talking about quote unquote comp community, right? So I'm not saying that everybody who tries to make Destiny comp, like doing Face It in tournaments and stuff like that, is a bad person or that they have bad intentions, but I'm going to use Face It as an example. Face It is where you go to play 3v3. I don't know how popular it is nowadays. I'm assuming it's not very popular, but it's a very strict rule set. You can only use certain things, hand cannon shoddy, one sniper per team, one slug shotgun, things like that. There's a ton of banned items. There's a lot of limitations on the game, right? And so then you have the community side where if you're a player who is trying to get into the swing of playing competitive, if you're not good, they will absolutely chew you out in the Face It community. I'm using Face It as an example. I'm not saying that every part of Face It is bad, because there's actually been some really good things that come out of Face It. You've seen a lot of really good tournament players who have played Face It and then have ended up playing, you know, Battlefied tournaments for money and stuff like that. So Face It's definitely a place where you go to play the best of the best. But the point is that when you try to take a community like that and you try to get more people involved and wanting to do that, when you make players feel not welcomed to try new things or try to get into that competitive mindset, you kind of just scare them away. And I think Bungie realizes this as well, because I can't recall any specific Bungie driven events, but we're going to kind of shift a little bit from the Face It side. I personally believe that Bungie is not a huge fan of the people who want to see Destiny as a competitive space. And the reason being is because even if you take PvP out of the equation, if there's ever been anything that the community isn't very fond of, whether it's PvE nerfs, PvE buffs, things that are being added to the game, whatever, over the course of Destiny as its launch, you've actually seen Destiny devs threatened on Twitter for something they said, something they did, over something in Destiny 2. And I don't have very specific things because I don't want to showcase any dev, but even just me playing over the years, I've seen devs get threatened by people on Twitter or threatened in some way that really would never make anybody want to support doing those events. And it's usually coming from the PvP community. Now, I'm not saying that this doesn't happen in PvE, but I know from a PvP perspective, I think this is something that's kind of holding back the support behind those competitive games. The fact that I even have to talk about devs getting threatened by people on the internet is just something that should never happen in the first place. If you have people being threatened over something they did in the game, even if you don't agree with it, how would you expect anybody to support community driven events, right? It just doesn't, it just hurts the overall morale, especially for the devs. And it's something that I would never want anybody to ever go through. The Destiny community has some of the most sweet and generous and kind people that you could actually ever ask for, but at the same time also has just absolute weirdos who try to ruin it every single day. And I know this isn't exclusive to Destiny. I'm sure this happens in the COD community, in Rainbow Six, Fortnite, whatever it is. For whatever reason, I'm not sure if it's just player count or player population. It just seems to be like Destiny is just completely filled with absolute weirdos. And I know at the end of the day, all they want is interaction. They want people to notice them and stuff like that. But it is beyond unbelievable some of the things that I've heard, some of the things that I've experienced just being a streamer in the Destiny community, and some of the things that I've just seen on a day-to-day basis. You have people, you have streamers in Destiny 2 being threatened, mainly on the PvP side. I don't really have a lot of knowledge on PvE, so I'm sure it definitely happens on the PvE side of things too. But since I'm really PvP oriented, that's kind of what I follow up on and what I'm most knowledgeable, or at least have seen a lot of. And it's just extremely sad because I keep hinting at the earlier days of gaming, and it's just something from my experience. When people used to shit talk you back in the day, when it was on console lobbies, the most threatening thing somebody could do to you is DDoS you, which basically means take your internet offline. Usually everything was in game. It was in-game banter if people were shit talking each other, and that's completely fine, right? It's one thing to be in the game, and then it's another thing to make it so personal that you take it out of the game and you start trying to attack somebody personally. So there's things that I've dealt with just as streaming and growing as a creator that I would never wish anybody to go through, but things like that are a big reason why I think Bungie just won't support competitive Destiny 2. When you have devs that are being threatened, streamers that are being threatened by people on the internet, how could you try to make something that people are going to want to support and enjoy, right? There's just no reason to. You got streamers being threatened to be swatted. I mean, I don't know of any personal D2 streamers that have been swatted, but even just streamers on Twitch overall, people have had SWAT teams pull up to their door for bomb threats. You've had pest control sent to people's houses. You've had people in game trying to leak other people's addresses. Like, I don't know when gaming became so personal to people where you feel like you have to attack someone's livelihood, but for whatever reason, whether it's an empty threat or not, you're at the end of the day, you're dealing with someone's life. If the goal is to make somebody feel threatened, that just makes you a horrible human being. And so I know in this video we kind of jumped around a lot of things. We went back and forth. I mainly wanted to get across the point that Destiny 2 just cannot be a competitive game mode because there's so many things that make Destiny unique, and I think maybe having 1-2 tournaments a year where you can just use whatever you want, you'll see some very, very cool things. But at the end of the day, when things aren't balanced, you're probably just going to see something like you see in Trials, where people are just 3 stacked on one class using one loadout because that's the strongest thing in the game. So that's the first problem with having competitive events behind Destiny. The second problem, coming from a community standpoint, you have really good apples and then you have a lot of bad apples as well. And when you kind of merge those two, the bad apples just ruin it, and it kind of hinders everybody's ability to kind of enjoy the game. If there's anything that you guys want me to cover, anything you guys want my thoughts on, please leave a comment down below. You're kind of getting glimpses of the thoughts that I've had over the years, and I'm finally at a point where I feel like I can talk about it. This will probably reach some new ears, new eyes, but at the end of the day, I like talking about things Destiny related, mainly on the PvP side. But if you guys want to talk about absolutely anything, please drop the ideas down in the comments and I'll see what I can do. I appreciate the support that you guys show in every video. At the end of the day, I want you guys to have fun with the game, but I also want you to see some of the insights on Destiny as a whole. If you guys want to join the Discord, links to the Twitch and the Discord will be down in the description. I do carries every weekend, and I have a Discord dedicated into helping you guys on your PvP journey. Feel free to join, make some new friends, try out the LFGs, and say hello in the Discord. I also offer coaching for anybody interested. You can check that out in the Discord as well. Shoot me a DM if you want more information, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.